In a shocking turn of events, Gambit is actually going to be the newest hero coming to Marvel Rivals in Season 5, and he's none other than a strategist. It's been around 6 months since Marvel Rivals has received a strategist, so this is a very nice change. Gambit's kit is rather extensive and does take some skill. And today, I have the ultimate guide or masterclass in understanding how to play Gambit, from the basic tips and tricks to more advanced techniques from his abilities, playstyle, counters, everything you need to know. And of course, if you're new here or find yourself coming back on the regular and you aren't already subscribed yet, why not? It's completely free and you're coming back anyways. Thank you so much for watching the video in the first place, but let's dive straight into his abilities. Now, first things first, let's talk about his abilities. There are quite a few abilities, so it can get a little bit confusing on how to apply them all. So let's break them up so it's easier to understand. Emphasize that this character is listed as a 4-star difficulty character. And just before I quickly go over the abilities, when you go to the abilities, you literally have to scroll to get to the next page of abilities. That's just how many there actually are, which in my opinion is pretty insane. So let's talk about his primary attack, kinetic cards. You launch 3 kinetic charged cards in an arc ahead. Each card detonates on impact, creating a single target explosion that damages enemies and heals allies. So you can see I have 21 ammo. Throw cards, you can see it goes out in a burst. I'm throwing 3 cards at a time. You cannot crit with it, but you do attack pretty fast, meaning your DPS for this character is pretty insane. Now, right now, there is no actual numbers in the game, so we don't know how much damage he does until the character is fully released. But in terms of healing, he does a decent amount of healing. Now, what's interesting is the character is both a projectile character and a hit scan character. Let me explain a little bit. So it's projectile, meaning that, well, you throw cards. It's a projectile, right? Pretty self-explanatory. And I only emphasize hit scan because hit scan is basically the bullets instantly connect to the target. That's hit scan. But for the most part, because the projectile is so fast for this character, with some lead, you can get your shots on target extremely fast. So I would say it's on the border of both, but in fairness, it is still a projectile. But as you can see, it does reach the target extremely fast. So that's the only reason why I mentioned it could be both. Now, in terms of the actual attack range, you have 30 meters. You have 35 meters for a second. You maybe have 40. And this keeps going. So you can get some attacks from some pretty far range, which is pretty insane. I don't even know how far this is now. It stops roughly around here. So quite a lot, but as you can see, the further I am, the less amount of damage I'm doing. And on par, I'm probably going to be doing less healing the further away I am as well. Yeah, I'm not doing as much healing as I'm being, super close. That's probably because each card individually has some healing aspect. So if I were to hit him just on the edge of the card, it'd probably do, a little less healing instead of having all of the cards directly impact them. So that's the primary attack. Pretty cool, pretty self-explanatory. Throw 3 cards, reload, heals, damages. Now, before we dive into all the card specifics, I do want to talk about his right click or his alternative attack, which is the Bayou Bash. I probably completely said that wrong. I'm sorry. Basically, you channel kinetic energy into a staff, then slam it into the ground after a sweeping strike, creating a shockwave that damages nearby enemies and heals allies. You can follow up with Cajun Charge with big and easy impact to sprint forward while striking with the staff, triggering 3 kinetic explosions along the path. So this is the right click. See, you have 2 charges off it, off rip. If I go to no ability, you can see decent AoE. Pretty cool. I mean, it's just a right click. It's your safety net. Now, what I'm really curious about, before I talk about the dash, is if I take damage, I think this is pretty important. Can I left click myself? No. Can I right click and heal? Yes, I can. That is your self heal. Self heal is your right click as well as your, your safe. Now, his movement ability, shift for mouse and keyboard, not sure what it is on controller, apologies, is the Cajun Charge. You sidestep forward with the bow staff in hand, dashing a short distance. So you can dash, and then you can see you have that right click that I was talking about on this right click earlier. Dash, then you can right click and you do this extra spin, which is pretty cool. And something I didn't forget, I forgot the test, was actually if I were to Shift right click through teammates. Does it heal them? Yes, it does. That's very cool. Because your right click heals, so you can, if you're trying to get a ton of burst healing out, which you could do, shift, right click, and you heal both of them and just pump healing it. So pretty cool in my opinion. Next up, we have the cards. This is where things might get a little bit complicated to some. So you have Healing Hearts and you have Breaking Spades. As the names imply, it kind of don't. Now next up is the card section. It might be a little bit hard to grasp at first if you're not familiar with playing cards, which is perfectly fine. You have Healing Hearts, which is the E ability on mouse and keyboard. Then you have Breaking Spades, which is your F button, or your F ability, whatever you want to call it. For your Healing Hearts, the name kind of goes with what it does. It's your healing hand. In terms of the Breaking Spades, this is where you do your damage, you gain a damage boost, everything like that. With that being said, let's talk about Healing Hearts first. This is your healing. So you have your E and your F, and you have a timer of when to make this decision. As you can see, after the timer goes out, you lost that chance to use your cards, but you can always reactivate it. So after pressing your Healing Hearts, you have Bridge Boost, which is E again, or Flush. And while Healing Hearts deck is active, you trigger Flush Empowerment to card Spring and fire a full deck forward. Cards bounce between allies on impact, granting them health and a healing boost. Again, this number isn't made known yet, but essentially, you can left click, E, you can see, E, and it goes through each other. Pretty cool. It's kind of like Adam Warlock's heal in a way, but better, or kind of on par. So E, then you want to press E again. You don't press it like a left click or anything else. It's just E, and then E one more time. As you can see, I can't throw cards because I don't have a full card yet, and it comes back. And to get more cards, it's just passive by time. So this character is pretty reliant on having a big uptime of knowing when to use what abilities at certain points. Then your other ability with your Healing Hearts is Purifying Pickup. While Healing Hearts deck is active, you trigger Raise Empower. Now the other part of Healing Hearts is Purifying Pickup. While the Healing Hearts deck is active, you trigger... Now, Healing Hearts, the other ability is Purifying Pickup. While Healing Hearts deck is active, you trigger Raise Empowerment to launch a cluster of cards in a art. So the other aspect of Healing Hearts is Purifying Pickup, which is on the F key. While Healing Hearts' deck is active, you trigger Raise Empowerment to launch a cluster of cards in an arc ahead. Explosions heal nearby allies and purify them. So you E, and then you press F. Basically, this is a AoE cleanse, a giant AoE cleanse, as a matter of fact. It goes pretty far, as you can see if I press E, and it reaches the character all the way over there. So you're able to save from things like Groot's ultimate, Doctor Strange's ultimate, whatever stun, freeze, like things ult, whatever there is, you can actually save your team from it, which is pretty insane in my opinion, but I think it's something this game so desperately needed. Now let's talk about Breaking Spades. This is the more, I guess, empowering, damaging effects. So this is your F key, and basically you have two abilities. Again, you have Explosive Track and Binding Barrage. So Explosive Trick, while Breaking Spades deck is active, you trigger Flush Empowerment, again, to fire a full set of cards forward. Cards explode on impact, dealing damage while inflicting reduced healing. This, as you can see, if I actually get in range of the enemy, and let this run out, so I'm done and press the wrong button, you can see you have a knockback. So you press F again, and you can see it applies that defect, anti-heal. It does damage, and the distance is pretty far. It is a bit of an AoE, so if I were to hit in the middle of the enemies, it does affect both of them. Swing, you can see the AoE is pretty big for the most part, so pretty good if you're in the middle of a team fight. You see the enemies are all clumped up, boom, drop it like so. Then you will have Binding Barrage. While Breaking Spades deck is active, you trigger Raise Empowerment again to scatter cards in an arc in all directions. Explosive damage enemies and launch them up. So this is your, I guess, knockup per se. See F, E, and you can see the arc. also pretty cool in my opinion. This character offers a ton, so definitely something to be looking out for. So let's talk about his ultimate, Raging Royal Flush. You lock onto an ally within sight and unleash multiple aces that heal and purify. Both enter the kinetic transfer state, granting increased movement speed and jump boost, while enhanced attacks with additional single target explosive damage and providing the ally with ultimate ability charge acceleration. So this is it. I ult, and I can just whip cards out. My cards do not pierce, which is something to take note of, but this is a pretty cool ultimate. I'm glad that they went for this type of ultimate instead of just another Tranquility ult or Trank ult. If you don't know what a Trank ult is, it's essentially an ultimate that keeps you alive a lot. Essentially, characters like Luna Snow, Invisible Woman, and so on, those big ultimates. So I'm glad we're finally getting a strategist that doesn't offer that because it can get pretty frustrating. There isn't any time limit displayed on screen, but I feel that it's roughly 10-ish seconds. I could be completely wrong, but it feels like 10 seconds at least. And his passive, or what he gains from the team up with Magneto, is that he just gets a 5% healing boost, while Magneto gets, you know, his Ace of Aces ability. That's pretty much all the abilities that this character has to offer. Pretty cool character. His default melee attack, he actually whips around the bow staff. You can see 1, 2, 3 is a spin attack, so 1, 2, 3. He gets a little bit of an extra on a third attack. You can see, pretty cool actually. So 1, 2, 3 spins more damage, which is definitely something to take note of if you find yourself up close. If you find yourself up close, definitely go for an E, but then melee them down. Now, in terms of playstyle, I do want to talk about, you know, the best team compositions I found with playing a ton of Gambit in the early access, and some of the counters to be looking out for. For the best team compositions for Gambit, those are characters who can fully utilize his offensive buffs and complement his aggressive playstyle. Heroes like Captain America, Magic, Blade benefit greatly from Gambit's anti-heal abilities, allowing them to secure kills more effectively during close engagements. While heroes such as Star-Lord, Punisher, and Winter Soldier, who rely on high burst damage and rapid fire rate, can take full advantage of Gambit's ultimate ability, which grants explosive power and enhanced mobility. This synergy enables them to push objectives and dominate fights with greater efficiency. Then let's talk about some of the counters I found when playing as Gambit. The best way to counter Gambit is by disabling or eliminating him as quickly as possible before he can support his teams. Heroes like Hulk are highly effective, as his Gamma Stun can interrupt Gambit's abilities and his shield can protect teammates from Gambit's ultimate. Burst damage heroes such as Magic, Blade, Star-Lord can easily chase and punish Gambit due to his low health pool of 275, making him a decently easy target when caught off guard. Ultron's high damage can also pressure Gambit heavily, forcing him to retreat or misplay. Additionally, Jeff the Landshark's ultimate is a direct counter to Gambit's ultimate. When Gambit activates it, Jeff can swallow him and his allies instantly, cancelling the ability and potentially spinning him out to his death. I think any burst character that has some medium to long range can easily outrange Gambit and just make his life a living nightmare. Characters like Hela, Phoenix, Winter Soldier, Blade, Angela, or Daredevil all trying to swoop in, get rid of him as quickly as possible. He's definitely one of those characters you want to shut down, well, as quickly and as fast as possible so he doesn't ramp up his impact, because I feel the longer he's alive, the more impact he offers, and that could be said for a lot of characters, but in Gambit in particular. Now, in the early access, I put a ton of time into Gambit, playing him, trying to master him, trying to see what his kit is all about. And honestly, for playstyle, what I found the best was a more aggressive strategist. You're still going to be playing it in a triple strategist. You can play him in a dual strategist lineup. It is a little bit harder, don't get me wrong. Triple strategist is definitely where he shines more, but you can get away with a duo if you have a Luna Snow or Invisible Woman as your other quote-unquote main healer. That character is a lot more aggressive, like I was just talking about. You're going to be more up close and personal. A lot of his abilities have to do with being closer to your target or being closer to the teammate, because the further you are away, even though your cards may land, you're going to be doing less damage and less healing output, so you're going to want to be decently close to your teammates or the enemy. You have a ton of mobility in your kit to zip around so you're not caught out guard a lot. You have a right click that heals yourself and damages enemies. And then of course you always have your anti-heal and knockback with the Spades section of the cards. This character offers a ton of versatility depending on how you want to play your Strategist. Just hopefully you can lock it in day one before one of your DPS main players decides to play Strategist for the very first time. Honestly, Gambit offers a variety of different ways to play the Strategist role now, and I think this character will be a mainstream pick. I think he'll be picked a ton, mainly for the fact just how much his kit has to offer. He can do a ton of healing, a ton of damage, and his ultimate is pretty useful in any scenario. I don't see a world where this character isn't picked all the time, but for some reason, if he's not picked and he's open, definitely recommend giving him a chance. He does take a while to understand, he does take a while to get very good at, but once you get the timing of the abilities down, proper card management, you should be able to run lobbies. But anyways, hopefully this video has helped you in any way, shape, or form. If it has, make sure to hit that like button, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can see new and exciting content every other day or whenever I decide to go live on YouTube. But regardless, I hope you have a safe and of course great day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.